Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on my video. Today I want to talk about something that every single human keeps inside of themselves subtly. I've noticed it in myself a lot, which I want to talk to you guys more. It's also something that we can quite deeply affect how we show up in our relationships, and this is called the wound of insecurity. This is my third wound of theme of consciousness that we're talking about in this series. This is something that can quite literally shape how we show up for ourselves and often how we view ourselves. And I think the fastest step to healing this wound is the self-awareness. So let's get into it. Okay, so insecurity is more than just like a fleeting feeling of self-doubt. We all have it. It's very natural. It's a human response. And I think that it's just another way that we can heal and develop our sense of self. So I think it is quite literally very important. Talking about it's very helpful. Right now I'm sitting down with my notes that I took on this because I wanted to make sure that I was as present with you guys as I possibly can be. I have my book that has helped me understand what these wounds are. So I have kind of all my tools that I've assembled. I'm sitting down with some coffee. So if you want to just like set a vibe for yourself, and we'll get into the video. I love that. I have my goddesses behind me and my plants and all the lighting and everything. I can see it in my eyes, but I'm not going to get insecure about this because we are not letting that get in the way of our life today. Okay. So insecurity is deep. It's often an unspoken wound that we talk about, or maybe we talk about it in a good light. Whatever kind of relationship that you have with this wound, it usually goes unspoken, and it can also manifest really in our relationships, making us feel like we're not enough if we don't have a good relationship with it. The hardest part is that it can show up in so many ways that we also really don't notice. We can let it kind of take grasp of our life and how we choose to show up. And we honestly tend to give our power away to this wound, I've noticed a lot. So sometimes it's a very subtle fear kind of in the background. Other times it's a constant nagging voice daily kind of in our heads. But when we don't address it, it can take a really big toll on how we connect with ourselves and mostly with others. And it's something that we carry in a way, whether we like to admit it or not. I don't think there's anybody out there that's always 100% secure in themselves. And that's kind of the point of life, is trying to navigate what is going on. How are you feeling about this? How can you get around it? And we are just trying to be aware that we have these wounds, and then we can grow into motivation to be like, yeah, I have this, but I can grow from this. And that's what my journaling today was. So I'm excited to become more self-aware with you guys. So I've noticed, for me anyway, that insecurity can often show up as seeking validation, constantly needing others to tell us that we're okay, we're pretty, we're smart, we're good, that we're worthy, that we're loved. We need somebody's validation to tell us because we don't feel it inside. We look for that external reassurance because deep down we don't feel secure within ourselves. Maybe you've felt that before, or maybe you know somebody who's felt that before. And that moment when you post something like online and you find yourself obsessively checking for likes or comments, hoping that somebody's words will make you feel seen or validated or enough. I think we all do that. I definitely have some friends that do that. I've done that in the past, so it's a completely normal thing to do. And I just don't want anybody to feel like, oh my God, I do that, so I'm not like good enough, or I can't get out of that. Like, of course you can. It's just a part of life. So this wound really makes us look for the world around us to make us feel like we matter. But here's the thing. The validation that we get from others will only fill us for so long. It's never permanent, and it's never truly fulfilling, which is, I think, our whole goal, is to find that fulfilling, truly lasting happiness. And that's what I want for you guys, and that's what we're all searching for and we're becoming aware of. So of course it's going to become present in our reality. So if we do have this wound, we start measuring our worth really. Sorry if you see me moving around, it's because I'm moving on my notes and trying to see what is best. I'm trying to sit up straight. Let's do this. Okay. So we really try to start measuring our worth based on how much validation that we get. We try to look at our past successes and try to be like, no, I was really successful, even though I didn't feel like it measured up enough or I could have done more. That is like, this wound feels really like you're just trying to grasp. And I say it as like throwing paint onto a wall, but the paint won't stick. You're like, what's wrong with me? What's not sticking? What's not doing well? So that's why I really don't like this wound, is because it just feels like an empty void. And if that resonates with you, like how you feel about it, like in my meditations, that's how I feel about it. We also start to get really anxious when we don't get the attention that we want or that we feel like we need to feel okay. We start thinking that if we can just get more love, more approval, more recognition, then maybe we'd feel like we're enough and then we can be happy. Whatever the origin, the feeling of really like inadequacy, constantly questioning whether you're lovable or worthy, starts to shape how we like view ourselves. And then that can just lead to a really like toxic cycle within us. And I think that in relationships, this need for validation can even be like more intense. And sometimes we don't even know exactly what kind of validation we need from relationships, but we need it and we can't grasp it. And that's what I'm talking about, is like, what am I doing wrong that, it's not sticking for me? That's kind of like the narrative that I get in my head with this. We really look to our partners or our loved ones or our friends or our acquaintances for constantly reassurance. That's what I've been saying. You are like, just say like, you are important, you are chosen, you are loved no matter what. And when we don't get this kind of reassurance that we expect, we feel rejected, insecure, like we're not good enough. We start to question our worth, our value, and mostly our place in life. And that can be really scary. But here's the thing that took me so long to understand. Validation from others, as important as it can feel, is not what makes us truly whole. True security and worth comes from within. And until we validate ourselves, until we can learn and love and accept ourselves, we will always be looking outside for something that's fleeting that we're trying to grasp onto. But when we really rely on others to fill that gap, we're giving away our own power, the power that you innately, divinely have. Like your birthright is that power. So why give that away? The truth is, no one can validate us until we validate ourselves. And mostly the external validation is like a Band-Aid, in my opinion, over a wound that cuts really deep onto your healing. And I do believe that once you start being self-aware and understand like, oh, these thoughts are just coming from my wound of insecurity, and you take back that power just by that thought alone. So that's kind of like a shield that you can do for yourself. It's kind of like mental judo. And I do sympathize with people because I understand how seeking validation the struggle's very real, okay? It's something that can take hold of our thoughts, shape our behavior, and even control how we feel about ourselves, and that's the most important thing. I know because it's always been there, always second guessing whether I was good enough, always needing someone to tell me that I was loved, or not always, but in those thoughts of those things, when I maybe get triggered or when I seek that or I put that power on that external validation, that's what happens. But I've learned that this cycle only deepens insecurity. It never goes away. You never actually feel good enough. It's like a constant tug of war, just on one side kind of. So you're always kind of losing. And we feel like we need to be accepted. On the other side, we have the emptiness that comes from seeking approval and that never fully gets satisfied. So that is how it shows up. When we disconnect from who we truly are. So if we rely on somebody else or something else, our sense of self just gets totally lost. You kind of like put on a full mask. And so what we're doing is like peeling away the layers of the onion, some people call, but my therapist will say peeling away or unfolding the petals of a flower. So then, like, once you kind of unfold all of it and you, like, see who you truly are, we're all flowers inside. So I like that. Okay, so from my experience for the wound of insecurity, it affects the people that we're actually closest to. That's why this wound is very detrimental to relationships, in my opinion. When we're seeking validations from our friends or partner, that can be really overwhelming for them, and that can really that can just make you like not show up as your authentic self. And when you're truly happy, that's what you do. You're beautiful. Your authentic self is, everybody's going to be attracted to it, and the people that who aren't don't need to be in your existence, you know. So I just, if it's better to be your authentic true self than be living a lie, basically. It's not fair to anybody to actually hold on to this. In relationships, this wound of insecurity may show up in like pretty powerful ways sometimes. Maybe it's the fear of being like abandoned, the anxiety you have if your partner actually truly loves you, or even constantly seeking assurance from others, like we said. When you don't feel secure in yourself, you may constantly question if your partner or friend or anybody will actually stay with you, or if they'll eventually just lose interest. And I've had that anxiety myself. And also, if you have that anxiety, you're attracting in people who also will trigger that anxiety. So that's why getting to healing is so important for this wound. And that's why, like, I could talk about it endlessly. I think our society has really has tried to motivate us based on this wound of like, if you want to be, and I've talked about it before in inadequacy, and we spoke about that a little bit in the past, but like, if you're not this, then you won't be X, Y, and Z. It's a kind of like, it's like an algorithm that society has made for us. But what we're really searching for and what we're really losing or lacking if we live a life in the wounded theme of consciousness is our true selves, our true happiness, you know, what we actually want out of life. And let me see where my notes are. So insecurity can create emotional distance. We might pull back, or alternatively, we cling too tightly. We might constantly ask, do you love me? Are we okay? Are you sure? It's like we're fishing for proof of something, but we should already deep down know that we're actually loved and we're worthy. We don't need somebody else to tell us that. And if we are having anxiety about that, I think communication is a really good thing to learn of like, hey, I've been noticing this. Use I feel statements. I've been noticing this because I see this. Never like, if you use the word like, you've been doing this and you've been doing that, it's very accusatory. It can actually hurt. It can hurt relationships a little bit more because like, it might seem like your intentions are to just attack somebody, and then you can come off as insecure, as toxic. And I think that's stupid. I think it's stupid to be called that or to talk to people like that, because maybe your intention was actually just, I just want to get to the bottom of this and I want to feel good and I want to have a good relationship with you, but you don't know the tools. So in my opinion, saying I feel this way takes out blame, and it might give you your sense of power back. So sorry, that's just a little tidbit. So yeah, fishing for proof of something that we already know, but the truth is, the more that we seek the validation, the more that we actually push it away, because that kind of energy is really, that clingy energy is not, nobody wants that. It's kind of just like trash, in my opinion. It can make others feel like it's okay to be like, hey, how are you doing? Check-ins. But if it's constantly like, I want you, I need you, you know, that kind of like scum on the bottom of the earth kind of like feeling, if you're giving that out, then look what you're giving back in. You're gonna get some people pushing you away because like they don't want that. They want to be successful. They want to have good relationships. They want this. They don't always know. So they're going to be like, excuse me now. You know what I mean? So the more we push it away, and it can create tension, basically, is what I'm saying. It can create misunderstandings. It can even create resentments in relationships, and we have no idea what's driving these. And those pushing away and everything, that can actually just create more insecurity in yourself because you have no idea. So self-awareness is so, so important. You are doing such a good job. You are creating such a beautiful life for yourself just by being aware of your mental state, what you need, where you're at. Meditation is so beautiful. I love meditation. When you're in the mood, just to be like, what am I thinking? Where are these thoughts coming from? So let's continue. So let's get into the healing part. Woohoo! So here's what, when the change happens for this wound and you start getting back your power, it always starts with you, never anybody else. And that's what this wound's first lie is that we look for, I need validation from you. I need validation from this, No, it actually starts with you. And that's the hardest thing to understand. And that's where your healing starts. It has to start in the hardest part, sorry. So we have to become the ones who honestly validate ourselves. This doesn't mean that we shouldn't appreciate or be grateful for the love and the validation that we get from others, but it means we no longer actually rely solely on that to feel whole. Maybe me seeing that I'm pulling in compliments actually says that I'm manifesting these compliments for myself and that I'm on the road to recovery or healing or whatever. So I've been trying to look at it like that instead of being like, oh, these people are validating me. Actually, I'm manifesting that beautiful Land Rover for myself because I'm creating a beautiful life for myself. Okay. So healing looks like we start to learn to actually truly love ourselves for who we are through sickness and through health. Not in a narcissistic way, but in a way that says, I am enough just as I am. Just me sitting here, no makeup, my hair's not done, I'm in a sweatshirt, I'm still enough. It's about accepting my flaws, my imperfections, our mistakes, just saying that it was always divine timing no matter what. And this is the human experience, and humans are not fully perfect, and that's okay. And boundaries really comes into that because we don't want to continue somebody in our life. True love does not look like always just stepping around people's shit or their issues. If they're willing to work on things and they're actively doing it, then yeah, I want to continue a relationship with you. But if you're not, and you're still going to continue to trigger me and not be sensitive about my needs and not actually take me seriously, then I can't be with you. That's what true love looks like, in my opinion. So it's about, healing is about healing this wound is about treating ourselves with kindness, just like we would a close friend, a partner, having self-compassion and then having compassion for others. When we begin to truly love ourselves, we stop looking outside for approval mostly because we know that we're worthy no matter what anyone else says or does. In relationships, we shift. The shift is transformative. When we're secure in ourselves, we're able to show up as our authentic selves. Who wouldn't love you as your authentic self? You're beautiful. It's your inner child. It's your inner teenager. The most lovable parts of yourself is your authentic self. And yeah, you're beautiful. I love you. You should just take 5 seconds to just appreciate yourself just a little bit. And then that'll grow. Little practices that we do for self-love and self-care every single day are they're little wins to a bigger win, and those should be really important. We're secure in ourselves. We're able to show up as our authentic selves without needing constant validation, which is actually, that makes you a secure person, in my opinion. We're able to trust our partner or our friend or our family member, knowing that we don't need them to constantly reassure us. We don't need them to be a certain way for us to feel okay. We're able to love more freely because we aren't dependent on somebody else to tell us that we're enough. Okay. So healing means communicating openly about our insecurities. Instead of hiding our fears or pretending that everything is fine, or pushing under the rug and it'll go away. We actually can share our vulnerabilities. This doesn't mean that we're asking our partners to fix us. We're actually creating a space for honesty, understanding, and actual mutual support. It starts with awareness. Like I said, the first step is recognizing that we're seeking validation or reassurance from ourselves or outside of ourselves. When you catch yourself needing someone to when you catch yourself needing someone to tell you you're okay, it's the moment to pause and reflect. Ask yourself, why do I feel this way? Why do I need this reassurance right now? When we can let go of seeking validation from anybody else or in our outside stimuli, basically, and instead show up for our true selves, we stop using them to fill the gap inside of us. Instead, we can love more freely and trust more deeply. We can have that compassion and we can see the world from a happier point of view. We can begin to nurture a relationship built on that mutual trust, support, and authenticity, rather than one that's based on needing constant reassurance, and kind of a relationship that goes like, you love the high, but at the high you still have that anxiety that it's going to come down low and you're gonna like not be good enough, like that. It goes from this to this. So you're kind of flatlining in life, but that's a good thing. Healing also requires self-compassion, like I'm talking to you about. Instead of criticizing ourselves to feel insecure, we need to approach ourselves with kindness. It's okay to have moments of doubt. It's okay to feel unsure at times, but those moments really don't define you. They're actually just maybe stepping stones for growth, and that's how we can look at them. When we accept our imperfections and recognize that we don't need to be perfect to be worthy, you are healed. So I would really recommend everybody and myself to start small. Each day, remind yourself that you are enough just as you are. Practice self-affirmations. Actually feel those affirmations. Feel what it feels like to have those affirmations. And I think in the early mornings, like right after you wake up, it's really easy to feel those because you can say affirmations until you're blue in the face, but your mind can be tricking you at the same time. It can be like a double-edged sword. And I think in the morning you're more malleable to actually feeling what it's like to actually feel those things, in my opinion. So remind yourself that you are enough just as you are. Celebrate your wins and let's see, allow yourself to be human, because being human means that we're imperfect. Sorry. And that's just okay. Okay. So when I edit my videos, I use Canva, and when I upload my videos, I can't upload anything, I think, greater than like 3 minutes. So I have to cut these sections into like smaller sections, if that makes sense, these questions and everything, so that I tend to start a video, talk about it, stop a video, and then continue on to a new subject. So that's what I'm doing. Okay. So healing insecurity in relationship isn't about expecting anybody else to fix us. It's us doing the work on ourselves, and it's us finding peace within and letting the peace shape the way that we connect with others. So you are actually your greatest tool in life. You just have to unlock that, and you have every capability of doing that. And so I'm really proud of you for acknowledging that and hopefully trusting that. So if you're struggling with insecurity, please just know this. This is my letter. You are enough. You don't need to seek validation from anyone to feel worthy. The validation you seek has always been inside of you. Waiting for you to realize it, you start to trust your partner, yourself, without the constant fear of losing anything. You can love more freely because you know that your worth doesn't depend on anyone else's approval. You become the source of your own validation, and that's the most freeing feeling in the world. I did forget to talk to you about the traumas that can actually cause insecurity, because I thought that they were really interesting. Okay, so being told that you're chosen or above others, especially religious, racial, or in class, being praised for achievements rather than your effort, entitlement, racism, prejudice, gossip, conditional love based on performance, no consequences as a child, delusional parents in denial of vulnerabilities, being spoiled or not having to earn privileges, even overdoted upon, coddled, being born into extreme wealth or extreme poverty, bullying or mockery, over competitive or competitive parenting, academic pressures. So those are traumas that can actually create like a wound of insecurity, and it can happen to you, or you can see somebody like close to you doing it. These wounds, like our minds are just very susceptible to traumas, and so I just want everybody to be aware. So thank you. Hey, lovelies, thank you so much for being here today with me, drinking coffee, talking about our spirituality and our mental state. If any of this resonates with you, I would love to hear this, hear your thoughts, hear your experiences. Please comment below. Let's continue to grow and support one another and take care of yourself, most importantly. So thank you. Have a great day, you guys.